All right, everyone. Donald Trump's messaging on affordability in the last 48 hours has not been particularly good. Now, is it Trump's fault that the price is too damn high? No. He does not have the ability to magically undo all of the damage that was done for the prior near half decade. That would be too much for him, one person to accomplish, especially when the House Republicans, as last term, are a hot mess. So getting them, to actually do something can be difficult. Then you have the whole problem with the shutdown right now, which is adding more fuel to the fire, so to speak, with the whole SNAP thing. The Schumer shut down his temper tantrum, which is the point, by the way. The shutdown, the whole point of that is to try to hold the toes of the public to the fire, to try to make them turn on Trump and blame him for economic problems and budgetary issues that really stem from the prior administration. But Trump's messaging, well, he's not fully culpable for that situation, has been poor. Saying that the price of things is coming way down is not true. It is true that some prices have come down, and it's true that the rise in prices has leveled off more or less, but the prices do still remain high. Gas prices are too high. Food prices are very, very high at the moment, among other things, and people are still feeling the pinch. The proper messaging would be to tell people you're going to need to give me more time. You're going to have to be patient because right now I'm dealing with a petulant Democratic Party and a prior administration that wrecked the economy with reckless spending. That would be better messaging. And then say, look, I'm doing the best that I can. I understand. I feel your pain. Nobody would believe that he actually feels the pain because he's a billionaire. But at the same time, trying to tell people, hey, I actually give a damn would be better than denying that there's a problem. You can, of course, shift most of that blame to the prior administration, which would be accurate, and you can simply show them an inflation chart and say, look, here's where your prices began catastrophically rising. I was not even president at the time, and the Democrats, had wide sweeping control, and yet the inflation still happened. Um, that would be proper messaging, but that doesn't appear to be what he's going with. I don't know which advisors told him it was a good idea to trot this out. Now, again, some of the things that he's saying are fundamentally true, or at least mostly true. Saying that the price of everything is going way down, that's bullshit. And by the way, blaming beef companies colluding with one another for high beef prices, that's not going to fly with people right now. I mean, we're going into the Thanksgiving season, and the costs are still high, and most of them have not actually come down appreciably, although again, the rate of rise is now tacking more along with general economic growth. Unemployment remains low, which is a good thing. The jobs reports, some of them are a lot higher than they should be, and some of them a lot lower. It's not entirely certain what exact factor is causing this undulation, by the way. There are multiple possible causes, probably all of them at the same time. But now Trump's messaging here is just poor. Let's just admit to that. Trump may not be culpable for something, but if he messages wrong when he's blamed as culpable for it, and, he swings and misses, well, there you've got a messaging problem, and that's what's happening. The Democrats are seeking to peg, and have been now since literally weeks within the Trump administration. You remember the whole egg thing? I mean, it's February, and they're saying the egg prices are too high, an issue they ignored for 4 years, but never mind. But Trump, at that point, he was still in the grace period, and so he could say, look, I didn't cause the egg prices to be higher. And that would be true. He hadn't had time to really enact any policies. Now, though, going on many months, he is more and more culpable for the economic situation. If you are hamstrung and incapable of doing much about it, at the very least, you can get the messaging right and tell people, hey, I'm trying. It's going to take more time. Biden had years to screw up the economy, so it's going to take me a while to actually fix it. Generally, Trump's messaging has been pretty good thus far. But on this particular issue, that's not the way to do it, Don. Just say that's telling people to basically it's almost like what Biden would do. just deny that the prices are rising and that inflation is a problem. You can't do that. You can't look tone deaf. That's not a good strategy within politics. And Trump appears, at least on this one issue, to be kind of going that route. And then this is directly tied in because the price of food, especially, is so high. It ties in with the whole fight over SNAP benefits. Now, the truth is that it's a Schumer shutdown. He's having a temper tantrum, and that's, preventing SNAP benefits from fully going through. And Trump's team did point out with the SCOTUS decision that we'll talk about later, that Congress really, they have to act. Trump can't just make money magically materialize out of thin air. It's not possible to do. During the shutdown, you have some funding that's already available to partially continue the SNAP program, but Trump can't unilaterally apply new money to it. Congress has to do that. Congress controls the House specifically controls the purse strings. Well, why aren't the Republicans, pushing harder to try to message to the public? That would be what my concern is that the Republicans are just poor on messaging. Most of them. Trump usually is pretty good. I don't know why he's effectively denying the fact that the food costs remain catastrophically high. Now, there's nothing that Trump centrally can really do at the moment to do anything about that situation. And this was, by the way, foreseen by more than just myself, that Trump was going to inherit such a mess that people eventually would get really, really fickle. They'd start turning on him when they realize several months in that he hasn't magically solved all their problems. But in the inability to do so, you have to be able to explain that to people, and you have to not get all goofy about it and just say, well, bacon costs are down. Beef costs, that's the responsibility of the companies. I'm going to look into that. You can't really do that. The buck stops here when you're the president of the United States. It doesn't matter if you're to blame for a problem. You're still going to get the blame if you've got poor messaging. That's about all. Peace out.